Welcome to this edition of the Boon of Wireless podcast, coming to you, as always, high above the streets of northern New Jersey at ANJ Media. Yes, New Jersey, where people have been living here since 13,000 BC. And I think most of them are still waiting for the stadium where the New York Giants and Jets play football, MetLife, to be used in January. Andrew, you a football fan?
Yeah, actually.
Have you ever been in that stadium in January?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Our guest today is the Chief Revenue Officer of Verizon Value. Verizon's portfolio of prepaid brands with over 20 million subscribers. As the organization's first Chief Revenue Officer, David Kim oversees the holistic channel and promotional strategies, channel performance, and distribution across each of Verizon Value's distinctive brands, including Total by Verizon, Visible, Straight Talk, and many more. Previously, David was Senior Vice President and General Manager of High-Speed Internet at T-Mobile, where he led his team in becoming the fastest-growing broadband company in America. He also spent several years leading the Boost Mobile business and held various executive positions at Clearwire, leading their no-contract business. With his in-depth knowledge of the wireless space and a reputation for staying 3 feet and 1 click from the customer, David is uniquely poised to lead Verizon Value through its next stages of growth and innovation. David holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Management and Policy from the University of Arizona, magna cum laude. Please join me in welcoming David Kim to the broadcast. David, how are you?
I'm good, John. It's good to see you. That's quite the introduction, my friend. So thank you for that. But it's good to see you. It's
good
been
to
a
see
long
you too.
time.
It has been.
Yeah.
We spent some time working together at Boost Mobile. Had a great time there, and unfortunately, Boost went the way of many MVNOs, where went to your current side of the business now, and hopefully, we can still see the innovation and the entrepreneurship that a lot of these MVNOs had and still have. So anyway, well, it's great to see you. You've had a very successful career in the wireless and mobility space, and I believe you said that your first job out of college was with a wireless company. So why don't you take us through and tell us a little bit about your journey from Arizona State to T-Mobile and Clearwire and Sprint, where you ran prepaid there, mostly Boost, and the transition back to Dish, back to T-Mobile and their fixed access, and now being the Chief Revenue Officer for Verizon's prepaid value channel.
When you say that, it has been a long journey, a long career, and I'm just blessed in terms of the different opportunities that I've had. My journey in wireless, believe it or not, actually started selling phones. I was selling Verizon and Sprint at a Radio Shack. So starting in high school. And so that was my first job in wireless. And I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved helping customers get set up with their phones and educating them. I mean, you think about it, back then, it was educating customers how to set up their voicemail. There was no number portability at that time, so you couldn't even port your number. And educating customers on 300 daytime minutes, nights and weekends, and all that. So that was really my first journey into the wireless space. And then I was fortunate enough to join T-Mobile, and then, as you mentioned, had several different elevations throughout my career. The thing I'd say there's two elements of the businesses that I really enjoyed. One is the fixed wireless space, from really the incubation of Clearwire and what we did there with the brand Clear. And then my most recent role before joining Verizon with T-Mobile in the fixed wireless access. It was a great journey, and it was great to be a part of that. But to answer your question, what I really enjoy is solving complicated problems, right, and solving puzzles. So I get restless easily. So I like to get myself into, complicated problems and challenging environments. And prepaid for me, or the no contract space, is very special. As a kid, I really grew up in this space, right? I grew up in this type of urban environment, and grew up thinking about this customer a lot. I think about my parents and what they did every single day to provide for me and my sister. It gave me this sense of grit and tenacity to be successful. But more importantly, I really admired this customer, right? I admire what they go through every day. John, obviously you've been part of the journey as well in terms of our time at Boost Mobile together. But that really is what inspires me. I love visiting stores. Last week I was in New York this week. I was in Miami. And nothing is more therapeutic than getting out there and visiting locations, talking to customers, seeing transactions. And so, very much operationally minded. And then as I visit stores, it helps me unlock, different things that we need to do to serve our customer base. So that's really why I love prepaid. And my journey has been very focused on the prepaid environment because it's dynamic, it's fast paced. There's so many different partnerships that you can make. You think about the vendors, right, that we work with every single day, who are embedded in the prepaid environment. It's just fantastic. You have a group of entrepreneurs, a group of folks that want to serve this customer. So that's what was really inspired me to be a part of this journey.
It's interesting you say about getting out. I think in all industries, especially when you're serving the customer through a retail environment, more and more executives need to get out of the office and visit, and not just show up and shake a few hands. Listen to their customer, who is the dealer, and especially the independent dealers that we both know and love, and see what their challenges are, and do they have the tools? Is Verizon giving them the tools to be successful in a fairly new venture, prepaid? It wasn't that long ago that Verizon was not a big player, and now you're the largest overnight. So yeah, I like that. I applaud you on that. So from my vantage point, you seem to build on your experiences as you've moved up to more challenging roles. What has been the secret of David Kim's success?
There's no secret. I would say that if I look back on my journey, there's three things that I was very fortunate to have. One is absolutely incredible mentors. Two is just my parents and the way they just instilled this, as I said, this grit, this desire to learn, this curiosity that I have in solving puzzles. And then the third is I've been able to be around great brands, great leadership, great dynamics where it was opportunities of change, opportunities of transformation, and really opportunities to moonshot businesses and really 10x businesses and think about that and think about how we can transform. So I've been very fortunate to be put in those type of environments. But when I look back at everything that I've done, I'd say those are the three things. And then the other element is I've had great teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, John, obviously you and I worked together. It was wonderful working with you. And you think about the teamwork environment that's so important. And so if I unpack that, the thing that I would say has been so important for me in building strong teams is what I call psychological safety. And my job has always been, can I make and ensure that the teams that we work together with, A, trust, and B, feel safe. And safety is important, right? Because as your employees feel really good and your employees feel that they have, there's an open mind in terms of doing things differently, it unlocks new potential and it unlocks new ideas. So that's been something important to me. And again, I go back to being out in the field. In any role I've been in, I have always made it an effort, whether it was on a weekend or every quarter, taking my team out and us visiting stores, and not the typical visits where you go in and just shake hands. How you doing? Right? What's the best rate plan you sell? What's the best promotion? A lot of it is, can I spend a half day in your store, right? And be your employee, and let me be the trainee and watch them do transactions, watch them talk to customers. Because then you start to learn what they say, how they say it, in terms of what you believe. Like as you build a value prop, right? You hope a customer and the sales rep articulates to the customer the way you want it articulated, but you learn really quickly of mistakes that you make, right? You learn really quickly of, hey, you know what, we need to fix that promo, right? Because that promo is not resonating the right way we want it to. And then you also learn systems. So I like to spend a lot of time looking at the point of sale, looking at our activation platform, because all those buttons, they need to be placed the right way, right? For that sales rep to transact quickly. So if I had to narrow it down, those are the things I'd say that were keys to my success so far. Is just being very ingrained in the community, building strong teams, and also just being very curious about the space.
That's great. You talk about being in a store, and we've all done it for an hour, 2 hours, half a day. There's many times in the store where there's not a customer in there. So what is the store manager or the owner doing to keep that person busy or keep them being productive? And that's, I think, a lot of people may miss the opportunity to do training, to do research, to do outbound calling to current customers to make sure that they, do pay the second, third, fourth month and stay an active customer. So yeah, you see a lot in the store, not only when there's a line, but also when there's nobody there. And what are the employees doing? That's good. What drew you to Verizon? I mean, we all competed against Verizon back in the day. I did here in New York when it was still New York Telephone and Bell Atlantic, and Verizon. Kiddingly, we called the bureaucratic ones that move slower than everybody else. But Verizon has, I think, changed in my view. And again, I mentioned that they purchased TracFone, which made them the largest prepaid carrier. But what is it about what drew you to Verizon now at this time?
I mean, my answer's simple, John. It's Verizon, man. Like it is,
Okay.
it's Verizon,
and that's a good thing now. That's a good
right?
thing.
I mean,
Yes,
come
yes.
on, like,
Yeah, yeah,
again, I go back to being grateful and feeling
yeah,
blessed. The
yeah,
opportunity to work at Verizon, it was just such a no brainer for me.
yeah.
And I go back to when I look at the prepaid space, I look at because obviously I was out of prepaid for a couple years, and just get to watch what was transpiring in the prepaid space, the environments, the brands, and so forth. And you look at the power that Verizon has with its brands and the segmentation that you can do, the different products that you could build, value propositions, and then also the distribution. I mean, you think about Verizon, it's Verizon Value. It's 100,000 points of distribution nationwide, primarily driven by national retail. And you think about just prior experiences, it's been the opposite, right? Of a lot of dealer based, authorized retailer based. So I look at that as an exciting opportunity. Okay, national retail super strong. How do we now build out third party entrepreneurial, right, branded exclusive? And we have a very strong business with Simple Mobile. I'll talk to you a little bit about what we just launched actually today
Oh,
with Simple
great.
Mobile. A couple of weeks ago, we obviously rebranded Total
Yeah.
Wireless, which I'm
I want to
super excited about.
touch on that.
Uh,
Yeah, I want to touch on that
yeah,
a little bit. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
good.
and we have iconic brands like Straight
Yeah.
Talk.
Yep.
I'm so impressed by that brand
Yep.
in terms of the customers, the love that customers have. We just did a deal with NASCAR, which is fantastic, and the Walmart team is incredible to work with. And again, what I love about it is the values are the same, right? As we talk to and partner with Walmart, it's all about what's best for the customer, right? How do we ensure that we give great value proposition where they can save money and have great things that we can offer them. So, to your question of why Verizon,
Yep.
because it's Verizon
Okay, good. All
and the
right. That's
brands,
good.
right? The brands really, I think, have a tremendous opportunity to unlock different ways of looking at wires. I think about some of the things I've read, John, that you spoke about, right? Of the MVNO space. Brands need to be distinctive, right? Brands need to have different value propositions. Like I remember reading your article where you spoke about this, and I totally agree. Every brand needs to have a reason for being and a reason to serve customers. And Verizon having iconic brands just made a very easy decision.
Okay. So I mentioned that they became the largest Verizon. Oh, by the way, I'm going to contact your marketing department and I'm going to copyright it first. Your tagline, I think, should be "Why Verizon? It's Verizon."
It's
So,
Verizon, man.
so if that comes
It's
on the
Verizon.
air soon, I'll be happy. Overnight became the largest prepaid carrier. It happened before you came here, but in your mind, how is that integration? How did it go? Obviously, there was some road bumps, but what's your take on that whole track phone with their 10, 11 iconic brands being now part of the Verizon family?
The integration, again, I've been with Verizon now 5 months, but it has been amazing to watch the teamwork and the collaboration. And if you think about it, it wasn't just TracFone, right? At the time, there was three separate teams coming together between the Visible family, which is an iconic brand doing extremely well from a digital subscription standpoint. You have our TracFone teams, and then obviously Verizon, and then you built a big umbrella under Verizon value. And everyone has brought to the table unique experiences, right? And that's what I really appreciate about the team is you have digital expertise with Visible. You have tremendous national retail expertise of how to work, how to partner with national retail across the board. And then you had an amazing team with Verizon as they launched, their brands relative to Total by Verizon at the time. You think about the simple mobile brand Verizon Prepaid in the authorized retailer space. So the camaraderie and the collaboration, I think, has been really strong. And my focus as I've come in is, again, sit, listen to the team, listen to pain points, listen to things that they want to see happen for the Verizon Value business. And then also talk to our dealer partners, our retailers, and our customers to unlock true value.
All right, excellent. So you mentioned the Total by Verizon. You just rebranded everything not that long ago. What was the impetus for this?
John, you're going to hear a theme, and the theme is I went out and secret shopped during my first month of being on board a ton of stores. And I spent a lot of time just sitting in stores, listening to transactions, listening to customers. And then I would spend time with the dealers and especially the front line. I mean, you think about it, John, the most important asset, the important person is that customer, that rep who stands 3 feet from the customer. I spend so much time there talking to them and just hearing about things that they go through every single day. And then we put science behind it and did a lot of customer surveys. And statistically speaking, almost 70% of customers thought Total by Verizon was a rate plan. Evidence of that was me being in stores and seeing customers come in, hey, can I pay my Verizon bill? And then hearing and seeing our sales reps be so disenchanted about that because they want to support customers, they want foot traffic, they want to help them. So that was the first stage of, okay, what can we do to really build a brand that's a fighter brand, that's the neighborhood beacon, that's a brand that really provides great value to this customer base to compete against the major brands, Cricket, Metro, and Boost. So that was the first stage. And then on my team, I have just an incredible team of passionate leaders that really know the space. So then we spent time listening to customers and hearing what the major pain points are. And then we just said, hey, you know what? Let's shut up. Let's listen to that. And then let's also outline, based upon what their pain points are, let's build our value proposition against it. And so you think about our first value proposition, 5-year price guarantee. That was, no mistake of why we did that. It was the biggest feedback we heard was, hey, I'm afraid of what my bill's going to be, of it going up to. And I go back to just my time, again, growing up in the industry, but more importantly, growing up just as a kid, right? So, at 10 years old, I'm walking in with my mom to go buy a cell phone plan. She doesn't speak English, right? So I'm translating. I'm articulating what, offers are. And that was hard, right? Because my mom's thinking about like the monthly bill. And that always stuck with me throughout my career was no one loves bill shock, right? No one loves every month having a different bill or different fees and so forth. So one of the first value propositions I was super passionate about was let's guarantee the price. Let's make sure customers feel safe, right? Let's make sure customers feel good about it. And let's build that. The second thing was the 3 bad words of prepaid: deprioritized,
Right.
throttled, and capped.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. With $30, including all in taxes and fees for 5 years, is there prioritization? Is there a cap? And a good friend of mine who owns an MVNO for the last 15, 20 years said there's an old adage that unlimited does not mean unreasonable. So how is Verizon putting a fence around those things?
Yeah. So the biggest unlock that we did was offering 5G ultra wide in our mid-tier plan, which is what you're referring to, the $30 a month, right? Typically, the premium data access is always the most expensive plan, right? And so one of our principles was, how do we make 5G ultra wide affordable? Because you think about this customer. Many times their cell phone is their primary access to the internet, primary access to connectivity to families, friends, primary access for their kids in terms of getting educated and helping them with school. So again, one of our principles was, how do we ensure that they have great data? And so what's Verizon and the power of Verizon? Going back to it's Verizon, it's network, right? So let's unlock that. And you think about, again, I articulate this of the partnership at Verizon. The conversation internally that we wanted to do this, there was no pushback. It was, you're right, let's do this. And so that's why, putting 5G ultra wide in our mid-tier plan was so important. And also a lot of education we have to do, because, when we talk 5G ultra wide, we talk about, ultra capacitor, we talk all those different
What's
things.
that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to simplify that and educate. And again, in my mind, it's, how would I explain this to my mom? Right.
Okay.
And how would I make sure she understands it? So
Okay.
that was the second principle. The third was, hey, great 5G phones, because at the end of the day, if you want to have a great 5G network experience, you have to have 5G phones. So our partnerships with our OEMs have been fantastic, working with them of ensuring we have great pricing on 5G devices. So we unlocked a lot of that. We're working on several new initiatives when it comes to certified pre-owned, new initiatives on different devices that we can bring into the channel that are 5G, give great connection. And then the fourth one was something unique, which was, in prepaid, every month that customer has a decision of, do I stay or do I go somewhere else? So how do you give something that gives them value to stay? And so our thought process was, a year from now, when they want to upgrade, how do we give them value? Because, you remember, John, like, customers be frustrated. They come and do an upgrade, they have to pay different prices. So we want to give an incredible offer, which is our $200 credit towards any device that they want, so that they can upgrade to the next greatest device. All those things put together was how we built the value proposition. Again, built for families, built for international calling, built for great hotspot access, all the things, again, taking a step back and listening to the customer pain points.
That's a great plan, and looks like the execution is still going. How are your dealers embracing the change? And I know I talked to a couple of your master dealers that I know from a long time. They seem very pumped about this.
Yeah. It's pretty fun, John. I'm so inspired when I get a chance to talk to the master agents, to hear it, from them, because that's just edification, right? Because again, this was, there was very few people that knew about this project, and because obviously we want to make sure that we come out with the bang. But talking to the master agents, and then I'll tell you, I love kicking off dealer calls, right? So I was on the national call, and I'm watching, comments from sales reps, and one of the sales reps said, "I've never fallen in love so quickly." And that just made my day, right?
That's
Absolutely
great.
made my day.
That's great.
So the feedback has been good, and the store build we're really excited about. You're going to see vibrant colors. Our what we call our focal wall is absolutely beautiful. Our build is fantastic. We're doing a lot of MDF to help our dealers in terms of growth, helping our existing base of dealers. And then it's a process, right, in terms of exterior signage and store build, etc. But we have great leaders who are doing that right now, great partnerships with vendors. So we're going to start building here very, very quickly.
And new stores need channel letters, right?
100%.
I remember that from the good old days.
That's
have to
right.
have channel letters or no thank you. Okay,
Yeah,
let's switch
big
gears.
Big signs.
Big signs. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the All Wireless Prepaid Expo in Las Vegas, which is less than a couple weeks away. Obviously, Total Wireless will be on a lot of people's radar. What kind of presence will you have there, and what are you personally trying to get accomplished there?
Well, people are going to have to go to find out, John, right? We got to drive attendance.
Yeah, there's a great commercial, August 27th, 28th at Caesars in Las Vegas. So,
yeah, we got to get them there. But, John, we got to put on a show, right? So we're going to put on a bit of a show. We'll have a significant presence at the expo. And, my mission is simple. I go back to things that matter in this space. Great dealers, great compensation, great value proposition equals a winning brand. And so that's what I aim to articulate. The partnership with the dealers and master agents is so important. And it's so important. There's trust between the carrier and the dealer, the retailer, right? And the master agent. So that's where I've been spending a lot of time too, is ensuring that there's trust there. And we have a common goal, which is to continue to build iconic locations, and drive customers to want to look at our brands. So I'll spend a lot of time there, in terms of speaking to those different things. And also, there's a lot of innovation that we're looking at in terms of how do we help support base customers? How do we support our customers in terms of acquisition? There's a lot of interesting work that we're doing in terms of AI and so forth. So we might get into that. But my goal of all things is let us be the carrier that has the best relationships with dealers and master agents, have incredible compensation, right? These are all entrepreneurs. You think about it, John, and everyone has families to feed, right? So how can we help drive more stores, more employees, right? More entrepreneurship, driven by great value propositions that entice customers to come in. So that's what I would say is the things I'm going to really try to charter.
Your model embraces the master agent dealer model, which I am very, very familiar with. Did it many times here in the New York area. Can you share with us how many master dealers you currently have, or is that something that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we have, about 15 different master agents,
Okay.
and,
Okay.
we'll look to continue to grow that space.
Okay.
Again, my goal is to have the best master agents, the best dealers, right? Driven by best comp, right? Best program, best value prop, right? So we have to earn that. And as you know, this space is all about building trust, but also earning respect. And so for me, it's not just about talking about it, right? It's about doing it and proving it. So that's my goal, is to prove it to the channel. And hopefully people are seeing that, right? Our total wireless launch was absolutely successful. And today we actually just launched a crazy new value proposition for Simple Mobile.
Okay. Can you talk about that, or are we going to have to wait for the
It just
announcement?
launched.
Okay.
It just launched today. Simple Mobile, right? One of my favorite brands that I've adored throughout all the years. I mean, you take a step back and you think about Simple Mobile, right? It really was the SIM revolution. It was how BYOD became a thing. And it was time for us to do something different. And I just wanted to start by rewarding customers with great value props. So today we launched 3x the data. And what that means is, for these customers who obviously, again, what we hear about often is they want more data. They want to ensure that they get value for their money. So, our plans now include 3x the data. So you can get $25 plan for 15 gigs of data, which is pretty incredible. But then we did something I'm even more excited about, which is we are Lifeline approved. So we are now offering Lifeline with Simple Mobile. And I go back to the things that matter, right? You think about families and you think about, it's hard to understand Lifeline. It's hard to, understand how to get set up with Lifeline. So we create a very simple process for customers to see if they qualify. And with Lifeline, they get another $10 off. So that plan I just mentioned is now $15 for 15 gigs of data if they qualify for Lifeline. So 5,000 stores will be able to help service customers, educate customers on Lifeline, which is super exciting. And I'm incredibly proud of the team for turning this on. This was a very excellent project.
I was going to ask about stores, but before I do, I saw yesterday that there is a bipartisan bill back in the House that they're going to move to committee to resurrect ACP. And I know that a lot of your brands were heavily in that. You said, we estimated you had about 1,000 stores right now that are being rebranded. You said 5,000. That's terrific. What's the time frame?
Well, the 5,000 is what we have for Simple today, right?
In terms Simple, okay. But the total, as far as the rebranding, how many stores? I think there's about 900 to 1,000 we estimate. But what does that look like in 2 to 3 years?
Well, I can't comment on the future, John, as you know, but if anything is, go big or go home, right? So our intent is to be competitive. Our intent is to be the neighborhood beacon in these markets. So we have great plans for this brand. And I absolutely love it. Again, I go back to the team. The team is so passionate about this brand. And so it's really exciting, but you will see big things with Total Wireless. I can assure you that. And John, I'm going to let you, continue to be the judge, man. So hopefully if I can earn your respect, John.
Oh, stop it.
That means I've arrived, man.
You're bringing out my imposter complex right now, please.
Not at all, John. Not at all.
So we did spend some time together at Boost and did a lot of good things there. And we targeted a specific demographic at the time. Are you targeting with total specific demographics? I know we had a brief chat about the Latino market or going back into the urban market. Where is the focus, or is it something for everybody?
It's really designed to be something for everybody. I mean, look, we want to compete against other prepaid providers, Cricket, Metro, Boost, right? We want to compete, and so obviously, from a geography perspective, where these stores are built, where we focus on, it just depends on where we can be competitive. But our intent as we built it was to focus on families, give great value for families. One of the things that we're doing right now is fourth line free. And we did that on purpose because, again, think about the son or daughter. I think about my daughter; she's 10. She already has a phone, um, but it's a necessity, right? So how do we ensure families get access? But then again, you go back to the power of the Verizon network. There's also rural areas that we want to support, and we want to make sure that customers have great connectivity there too. So our intent is something for everybody. Have a cool brand that people can connect with and resonate with. And again, prove it through value propositions that are different, unique, and valuable to our customers.
I would have to say this in all honesty: Verizon is very happy to have you. Very lucky to have you, I should say. And I know that with the Verizon brand behind you and what you've done in your career, uh, I think we're going to hear a lot about. I think everybody's going to hear a lot about the Verizon Value Channel and David Kim. So we're going to wrap up here, but before we do, anything else you'd like to talk to our viewers about,
No,
or our listeners?
I am honored to be on your podcast, John.
Thank you.
And I love your content, right? I think
Thank you.
what you're doing on this podcast is unique, talking to different industry experts, but also having real dialogue about what's important. I go back to just being out of the space for a while and coming back in. How do we innovate? Right. Because we're all after the same thing, which is to serve customers. So, my intent is to be competitive, but at the same time, hopefully that continues to drive innovation, because ultimately who wins are our dealers and our customers. And if we do that, then we all should win.
Excellent. That's a great formula for success. And so, David, it was really great to see you again. I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at the All Wireless Prepaid Show in Las Vegas. I, as an independent dealer, want to join the team. Is there a website that you can send me to, or someone at the show that will be available?
Yeah, we will have our team of experts at the show. We'll have, like I said, a pretty good presence there, so that I don't think we'll be missed. So they could talk there, but if they check out totalwireless.com, there's a section there where people can, who are intrigued about it, they can apply to learn more.
David Kim, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on, spending your very busy time with us today, and many, many more conversations I'm sure we'll have. That is going to wrap it up for another episode of the Boon of Wireless. We will see you next time. Thanks.